The main thing that stops people from succeeding on YouTube or any of these content mediums is just giving up way too soon.
You've made it in a very competitive industry, being YouTube creator. Why do you think you've made it versus others?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things. Firstly, I have now been doing it for 7 years. I have been publishing at least one video every week for the last 7 years, almost without fail.
Yeah, an overnight success.
No, overnight success, exactly. And about 5,000 something students have gone through my YouTuber Academy course. These are students who pay several $1,000s to take a course where I'm literally guiding them through the process. We have a whole support team holding their hand through the process. And still, of the 5,000 students that we've had, 50% of them don't even submit their first video. Life gets in the way. They're like overthink it, the perfectionism paralysis. They're like,
people love to pay for things that they think they're going to do. And that tends to fill the need weirdly.
Yeah.
They don't even do the thing, but paying for it.
So like half the people don't even make the first video. We it's like a 6-week course. And so we find that the percentage of people who submit video 6 is about 11%. So already there's like people have signed up to this thing with the best will in the world, and 90% of them don't even make it beyond video number 5. Then, the stats like podcasts, like sort of like 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3. 99% don't make it past episode 20. Mm-hmm. So literally just by doing it for a few months consistently, you're already in the top 1%. So I think the main thing that stops people from succeeding on YouTube or any of these content mediums is just giving up way too soon and not realizing that it takes years to see any kind of meaningful results. I think that's one thing. But I think another is almost from day one, I was treating YouTube as a business. I'd spent like 5-6 years running a business before then. I'd read a few business books. And so I kind of had the perspective of YouTube for me is not a hobby. It's like, if I wanted to have fun, I'd play the guitar, I'd hang out with my friends. Like the goal is for this to become something. And therefore, how can I apply the principles of business to growing a YouTube channel? How can I think about my target audience and my value proposition? How can I actively think about who are the competitors out there? If I was starting a restaurant, I wouldn't just decide to start a restaurant because I enjoyed cooking. I would recognize that starting a restaurant and making it profitable is very different to being a good chef. I'd be figuring out like, what's the footfall of other restaurants in the area? What are the competitors? Like, what other Italian, Indian, Lebanese restaurants are there in the area? What's their profitability? How can I differentiate myself in the market? And I'd be thinking about that quite a lot. So I was doing that with YouTube almost from day one. The danger with that, again, so most people are not consistent enough to see any meaningful results. But another thing that holds a lot of people back is that they overthink and they don't act. So the way I think of it is like, you can overthink and analyze the business and stuff all you want, but it must be on the foundation of publishing at least one video a week, at least in the sort of educational YouTube talking head kind of mode. So consistency, thinking about it like a business, and a healthy dose of luck. I started YouTube at the right time. I started in 2017. Everyone was saying YouTube was saturated in 2017. People were telling Tim Ferriss that podcasting was saturated in 2014. Like every platform always seems saturated, but there always seems to be room for people to carve out their own niche, especially if you can commit to doing it for a very long time.
And how do you think about audience? Like, how do you know who you're trying to go after with building an audience on YouTube? Does it sort of just magically happen, or are there like ways that you can preach and teach others to find their people?
Yeah, so it's sort of a conversation between like the creator and the market. And so the way we think about this is, as the creator, you want to be thinking about the people that I am part of or that I resonate with. So, for example, it wouldn't make sense for me to try and make videos for parents because I'm not a parent. Like, that's just completely pointless. But, I could make videos for medical students. I could make videos for amateur magicians. I could make videos for junior doctors. I could make videos for people in their 20s. There's a bunch of groups that I have that I'm part of that could be my target audience. The other way of thinking about it is, could my target audience just be me, but a few years ago? I think that tends to be how a lot of educational YouTubers find their audience. It's like, what are the things I've learned in the last 5 years? And great, how can I teach those to people who are 5 years younger than me? So in my case, it was initially how to study for exams, how to get into med school. Then it became how to be productive. Then it became how to start a business. And as I've grown older, kind of my sense of my audience has always been, it is a dude in the UK who is a few years younger than me. And as they say in, I think, 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, the target is not the market. Apple's products are targeted at creative professionals, But just because they're targeted at creative professionals doesn't mean you have to be a creative professional to buy an Apple product. Most people that buy Nike shoes are not in fact professional athletes, even though that's what they're going for. So even though I'm going for, a dude in their mid-20s trying to start a business, trying to do a side hustle, trying to be more productive, actually what that means is if I can specifically speak to that person, then the sorts of people that would resonate with my stuff is a lot bigger than that person.
Yeah, I love that.
So you're kind of thinking, I guess it's similar to a business. It's like one way of coming up with business ideas is thinking, who are the groups that I would like to be serving? Like who would be exciting to serve? Preferably, which of those people actually have money? And then let's figure out what problems they have and what problems I can solve. And it's exactly the same thing with a YouTuber. Who are the groups I'd be excited to serve? What are their problems? And then how can I make videos solving those problems?